Commander Ho stood at the large window of New Station, watching the stars. He loved this view. Below him, cargo ships moved slowly between the docking bays, carrying metals and supplies back to Earth. The station was home to 15,000 people. Families lived here. Children went to school here. His own wife worked in the farming section, growing vegetables in the massive greenhouses. It was a peaceful morning. Ho held his coffee and smiled. Humanity had been in space for 50 years now, and things were going well. They had 12 colonies across different star systems. Everyone worked together. There were no wars, no problems. Other alien species knew about humans but mostly left them alone. The Empire was different. They were tall reptilian creatures with dark scales and cold yellow eyes. They controlled 40 star systems and thought they were the most powerful species in the galaxy. Their ships were big and impressive. Their military was large. They looked down on humans as weak newcomers who didn't belong in space. Ho had met a diplomat once. The creature had barely looked at him, treating him like an insect. "Your species is young and foolish," the Had said. "You should stay on your little planet before something bad happens to you." That was 3 months ago. Now Ho's communication panel started beeping. It was an urgent signal. He put down his coffee and pressed the button. "This is Commander Ho. What's wrong?" The voice on the other end was panicked. It was Minu, the station's radar operator. "Sir, we have multiple contacts coming out of hyperspace. Big ships. They're not responding to our hails." Ho's stomach dropped. "How many ships?" 20? No, wait. 30. They're battle cruisers, sir. They're powering up weapons." Ho ran to the control center. His heart pounded in his chest. Around him, alarms started blaring. People looked at him with scared faces, waiting for orders. He opened the station-wide communication channel. "This is Commander Ho. All civilians get to the emergency shelters immediately. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." On the main screen, he could see the ships. They were massive, 3 times the size of human vessels. Their hulls glowed with an angry red light. Ho tried to contact them. "Fleet, this is New Station. We are a civilian colony. Why are you here? We mean no harm." There was silence for a long moment. Then a face appeared on the screen. It was a commander with scales and cruel eyes. "Humans," the creature said slowly, "you are weak. You are nothing. We are sending a message to your pathetic species. Leave half of your colonies or we will destroy Earth itself. You have 3 days to decide." Ho felt cold fear. "Wait, we can talk about this. There are families here, children." The commander smiled, showing sharp teeth. "We know." The screen went black. Ho tried to order an evacuation, but it was too late. The ships fired. Bright beams of energy cut through space and hit the station. The explosions were massive. Sections of New Station tore apart like paper. Ho heard screaming through the communication system. He tried to call his wife, but the connection was dead. The station shook violently. Fire spread through the corridors. Ho held onto his chair as another explosion rocked the command center. Through the window, he saw escape pods launching, but the ships shot them down one by one. They weren't letting anyone escape. This wasn't a military strike. This was murder. The last thing Ho saw was a bright light as the main reactor exploded. New Station, and everyone on it was gone. Far away on Earth in the military headquarters, Admiral Sung Ho was working late at his desk. He was reviewing supply reports when his assistant rushed in. "Sir, we just lost contact with New Station." Sung Ho looked up. "Technical problem." "No, sir. We're receiving a transmission from the Empire. They're broadcasting it across all known space." Sung Ho stood up quickly and followed his assistant to the main operations room. The large screens showed the broadcast. He watched in horror as the recording showed New Station exploding. The High Chancellor appeared, a tall creature wearing ceremonial robes. "Humans of Earth," the Chancellor said. "This is what happens to species that don't know their place. You will abandon half your colonies within 3 days or Earth will suffer the same fate." Sung-ho felt his chest tighten. His daughter worked on new station. Hae-won was a medical officer there. She had sent him a message just yesterday telling him about a little girl she had helped deliver. She was so happy. Now she was gone. The operations room was silent. Everyone stared at the screens. Then the emergency council was called. President Yang arrived within the hour. Diplomat Jin was there too, along with the other military commanders. They gathered around a large table. Jin spoke first. "We need to try negotiation. Perhaps we can." Negotiation. Sung-ho's voice was cold. They just murdered 15,000 civilians. They shot down escape pods. They killed children on purpose. "I understand your anger, Admiral," Jin said gently. "But we can't win against they have 40 systems. Their military is 10 times larger than ours." Sung-ho looked at President Yang. The president was a calm man, but his eyes were hard. "Admiral, what are our real capabilities?" This was the question Sung-ho had been waiting for. He pressed a button, and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed star maps and ship designs that no one except a few people knew about. "For 20 years, we've been preparing for this exact situation. While we showed the galaxy our small civilian fleet, we were building something else, something hidden." The hologram showed sleek warships, hundreds of them, hidden in a nebula far from Earth. Advanced weapons, shields that could stop anything, technology that would make other species look primitive. "They think we're weak," Sung-ho continued. "We made them think that on purpose. Every species in the galaxy thinks we're peaceful farmers and scientists. They have no idea what we're really capable of." President Yang studied the hologram. "How long until we can deploy?" 48 hours. "And our chances of victory?" Sung-ho's smile was grim. 100%. They have numbers, but we have technology they can't even imagine. They made a fatal mistake. They attacked us thinking we couldn't fight back." The president nodded slowly. "They killed our people. They think we'll surrender. Instead, we'll show them what happens when you attack humanity." He looked around the table. "I'm authorizing Operation Silent Thunder. Admiral Sung-ho, you have full command. Make them regret what they've done." Sung-ho stood up. He looked at the hologram of the hidden fleet. Somewhere in that nebula was humanity's true power, waiting to be unleashed. They had thought bombing a civilian station would break humanity's spirit. They were about to learn. They had awakened something far worse than they could imagine. "Get me Captain," Sung-ho ordered. "Tell him to prepare the Ghost Fleet for immediate deployment. The wanted a war. Let's give them one they'll never forget." Captain received the message in the middle of the night. He was on board the Retribution, the flagship of humanity's secret armada. The ship floated silently in the Orion Nebula, surrounded by colorful clouds of gas and dust. Around him, 299 other warships waited in the darkness. They had been here for years, hidden from the galaxy, waiting for this exact moment. Read the orders on his tablet. His jaw tightened. New station was destroyed. 15,000 dead. They were threatening Earth. He pressed the button for ship-wide communication. "All hands, this is Captain. We have received deployment orders. The Ghost Fleet is now active. Prepare for combat operations." Throughout the ship, crew members rushed to their stations. These men and women had trained for years in secret. They were the best humanity had to offer. Engineers, weapons officers, pilots, all of them ready for war. In the engineering bay, Bora checked her systems. She was the lead weapons engineer, and she had spent 5 years perfecting humanity's secret weapons. Her specialty was the Cascade missile. Unlike normal missiles that simply exploded, these were different. When a Cascade missile hit an enemy shield, it didn't bounce off. Instead, it created a chain reaction that turned the shield itself into a bomb. One missile could destroy an entire group of enemy ships. Bora ran the final tests on the missiles. Everything was perfect. She smiled to herself. They had no idea what was coming. In the communications room, Intelligence Officer was hard at work. Her fingers flew across the keyboard as she hacked into networks. It was surprisingly easy. The thought they were so powerful that they didn't bother with strong security. Within 2 hours, had complete access to their military communications. She pulled up the fleet positions on her screen. Their entire military was spread across 40 systems in a standard defensive pattern. Most of their ships were around Prime, their capital world. They were confident. They thought no one would dare attack them. Sent the data to Captain. Sir, I have their complete fleet deployment. They're not expecting an attack. Studied the information. They had made this too easy. They were arrogant, and arrogance made people stupid. Good work. Keep monitoring their communications. I want to know if anything changes. Back on Earth, Admiral Sung-ho gathered his team in the war room. Engineer Do was presenting her latest creation. On the holographic display, a massive cannon rotated slowly. This is the EMP pulse cannon, Do explained. It can disable all electronic systems on an entire planet from orbit. Power grids, communications, weapons, everything stops working. One of the other admirals leaned forward. How long does it take to fire? 15 minutes to charge, and the effect lasts for weeks. We have 10 of these cannons ready. We can shut down 10 worlds simultaneously. Sung-ho nodded. Excellent. What about the quantum shields? De smiled. Operational on all Ghost Fleet ships. The weapons can't penetrate them. They could fire at us for days and not cause any damage. The pieces were falling into place. Humanity had the weapons, they had the intelligence, they had the element of surprise, but then the worst news came. A young officer rushed into the room. Admiral, they just attacked another colony, Sterling Station in the system. Everyone froze. Sung-ho's face went pale. How many casualties? 8,000, sir. They destroyed the entire station. They're broadcasting it again, mocking us. They say we're cowards for not responding. The room erupted in angry shouts. Officers demanded immediate retaliation. Sung-ho raised his hand for silence. He pulled up the broadcast on the main screen. The High Chancellor appeared again, laughing. Humans, where is your response? We have destroyed 2 of your colonies. 23,000 of your people are dead. You have 2 days left to surrender or Earth burns. Sung-ho turned off the broadcast. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with cold fury. They think we're weak. They think they can keep killing us without consequences. He looked at his team. We launch in 6 hours. I want every ship ready, every weapon armed, every soldier prepared. Sir, Jin said quietly. She had been standing in the corner. Are we sure about this? Once we attack, there's no going back. The whole galaxy will know what we're capable of. Sung-ho looked at her. They murdered my daughter. They killed thousands of innocent people. They did it on purpose to make us afraid. But they made a mistake, Diplomat Jin. They thought fear would make us surrender. Instead, they just made us angry. He turned to the communication officer. Send a message to Captain. Tell him to prepare the Ghost Fleet for immediate jump. Target coordinates, outer colonies. Authorization code, Silent Thunder. The officer saluted and sent the message. Far away in the Orion Nebula, Captain received the orders. He stood on the bridge of the Retribution, looking out at his fleet. 300 warships, all of them invisible to enemy sensors. All of them equipped with weapons that could tear through enemy defenses like paper. All of them crewed by people who had just learned that their fellow humans were being murdered. All ships said into the communication system, "This is Captain. The Empire has attacked our people. They killed civilians. They killed children. They think we're weak. They think we'll surrender." He paused. They're about to learn the biggest mistake of their lives. Today, humanity shows the galaxy our true face. Today, they will pay for every life they took. Prepare to jump. Throughout the fleet, hyperspace engines powered up. The ships began to glow with blue light. In the weapons bays, Cascade missiles were loaded into the launchers. On the bridges, captains gave final orders to their crews. In the engineering sections, shields were brought to full power. Bora checked her weapons one last time. Everything was perfect. She thought about the families on New Station. They never had a chance to fight back, but now she would fight for them. For the fallen, she whispered. Sent one final update to the fleet. All ships, I have real-time access to communications. They have no idea we're coming. Their sensors won't detect us until we're right on top of them. Captain smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of a predator about to strike. All ships engage hyperspace drives. Target outer rim. Let's begin Operation Silent Thunder. The Ghost Fleet vanished from the nebula in a flash of light. 300 warships, all of them invisible, all of them deadly, jumping through hyperspace toward their target. The Empire had no idea what was coming. They thought they were safe in their 40 systems, protected by their large military. They were about to discover that size didn't matter when your enemy could destroy you before you even knew they were there. In the war room on Earth, Admiral Sung-ho watched the tactical display. The Ghost Fleet was moving. In a few hours, they would arrive at the outer colonies. The real war was about to begin. He looked at the photos on his desk. One was of his daughter, Haewon, smiling in her medical uniform. She would never smile again because of but she would be avenged. They all would be avenged. For the fallen, Sung-ho said quietly, and for humanity. The countdown had begun. They had 3 hours of peace left. After that, they would learn what happens when you attack Earth. They would learn that humans weren't prey. They were predators, and they were coming. The Ghost Fleet emerged from hyperspace like ghosts materializing from thin air. One moment, the outer colonies were peaceful. The next moment, 300 human warships appeared directly inside their defensive perimeter. The sensors went crazy. Alarms blared across every military station. Commander was in charge of the outer rim defenses. He was drinking his morning meal when the alert started. He ran to the command center, his scales turning pale with shock. On the screens, he could see human ships, hundreds of them. They had appeared from nowhere, completely bypassing all the early warning systems. "How did they get here?" screamed at his sensor officer. "We should have detected them hours ago." The sensor officer was panicking. "I don't know, sir. They just appeared. Our scanners show nothing, but we can see them with our eyes." Grab the communication panel. "All forces, this is Commander. We are under attack. Enemy fleet in Sector 7. All ships engage immediately." The military scrambled. 50 battle cruisers turned toward the human fleet, their weapons powering up. They outnumbered the humans in this sector, felt a bit of confidence return. Even if the humans had somehow sneaked in, they were still weaker. One battle cruiser could destroy 3 human ships. Or so he thought. Captain stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the ships approach. His tactical officer reported, "Sir, 50 enemy vessels moving to intercept. They're charging weapons." "Let them," said calmly. He opened a channel to all military frequencies. His voice was cold and hard. "Empire, this is Captain of the United Earth Forces. You bombed our civilians. You killed our children. You thought we were weak. Allow us to correct your mistake." Heard the human's voice and laughed. "Correct our mistake. You're about to die, human." All ships opened fire. 50 battle cruisers fired at once. Energy beams bright enough to light up space streaked toward the human fleet. It was enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The beams hit the human ships and nothing happened. The quantum shields around the human vessels absorbed every shot. The energy just disappeared, like water hitting an invisible wall. Not a single human ship took damage. His jaw dropped. "What? That's impossible. Fire again, all weapons." The fired again and again. Hundreds of energy beams hit the human shields. The result was the same, nothing. The human ships just sat there taking hit after hit, completely undamaged. Then it was humanity's turn. Bora sat at her weapons console watching the waste their energy. She shook her head. "They don't learn, do they?" She pressed a button. firing cascade missiles. From the human ships, small missiles launched. They moved fast, much faster than normal missiles. They tried to shoot them down, but the missiles dodged every shot. They hit the shields and the explosions were beautiful in a terrible way. When a cascade missile hit a shield, it created a chain reaction. The shield's own energy turned against the ship, creating a massive explosion from the inside. One battle cruiser exploded, then another, then 5 more. The chain reaction spread from ship to ship. In 30 seconds, 20 battle cruisers were destroyed. Couldn't believe what he was seeing. Half his fleet was gone in less than a minute. Retreat, all ships retreat. But it was too late. The human ships moved forward with impossible speed. They weren't just fast, they were everywhere at once, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. More cascade missiles fired. More ships exploded. Captain watched the battle with cold satisfaction. Target their military stations next. The Ghost Fleet split into smaller groups. Each group hit a different target. Military bases, weapons platforms, shipyards, all of them were destroyed within minutes. The quantum shields meant they couldn't hurt the human ships, but humanity's weapons tore through defenses like they were made of paper. In 6 hours, 12 outer colonies were under human control. Not a single human casualty. While the Ghost Fleet was attacking, Admiral Sung Ho led a second fleet to a different part of space. His target wasn't military bases. It was supply lines. The Empire was big, but it needed resources to function. Food, fuel, weapons, all of it had to be transported between systems. Engineered had prepared something special for this mission. Quantum mines deployed, Admiral, she reported. They're completely invisible to sensors. They'll activate only when ships come near. Sung Ho watched as thousands of invisible mines spread across the major trade routes. Any ship that tried to use these routes would be destroyed instantly. Within 1 day, the entire economy would grind to a halt. Good work, Sung Ho said. Phase 2 complete. Now let's move to Phase 3. Back at High Command, High Chancellor received the reports with growing horror. 12 colonies lost, supply routes blocked, thousands of ships destroyed, and not a single human ship damaged. His advisors were panicking, shouting suggestions at each other. We need to recall all our fleets, one advisor said. We should negotiate, said another. Slammed his fist on the table. Negotiate with humans? Never, they are insects, we will crush them. He turned to his military commander. Send our main battle fleet, all of it. I want every human ship destroyed. The military commander bowed and left. Within hours, the main fleet was moving. 2,000 battle cruisers, carriers, and destroyers. It was the largest military force they had ever assembled. Surely this would be enough to stop the humans. Intelligence officer was monitoring all communications from her station on the Retribution. She saw the fleet moving and smiled. Captain, they are sending their entire fleet. 2,000 ships heading our way. Looked at his tactical officer. How many ships do we have? 300, sir. Nodded. Excellent. They're actually making this easier. If they gather all their ships in one place, we can destroy them all at once. He opened the fleet communication. All Ghost Fleet vessels, we have 2,000 enemy ships incoming. Prepare cascade missiles. Maximum spread pattern. On Earth, President Yang watched the tactical display in the war room. His advisors looked worried. Mr. President, they have sent their entire fleet. They outnumber us 6-1. Yang looked at them calmly. Have you forgotten what our ships can do? Numbers don't matter when the enemy can't hurt you. He pressed a button to broadcast to all of humanity and every species in the galaxy. His speech would be remembered forever. People of Earth and all who are listening across the galaxy. For 50 years we humans came in peace. We asked for nothing but to be left alone. We built our colonies. We raised our families. We never threatened anyone. His voice grew harder. Then they chose violence. They murdered 15,000 civilians on New Station. They killed 8,000 more on Sterling Station. They targeted our children. They thought we were weak. Yang stood up, his face filled with righteous anger. But they were wrong. Today, humanity shows its true strength. Not because we want to, but because we must. They will learn what happens when you attack innocents. They will learn that humans are not weak. We are not prey. We are the storm that destroys those who harm our families. He looked directly at the camera. To every species watching, we did not start this war, but we will finish it. The age of bullies and empires is over. Humanity will not tolerate the murder of innocents. Not today. Not ever. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched in shock. They had always thought humans were weak, peaceful, and naive. Now they were seeing something different, something terrifying. The main fleet arrived at the outer colonies. 2,000 ships against 300. It should have been an easy victory for Their commander gave the order to attack. The battle lasted 43 minutes. When it was over, 1,500 ships were destroyed. The remaining 500 retreated in panic. The human ghost fleet had not lost a single vessel. Cascade missiles had torn through the formation like a knife through paper. The quantum shields had absorbed everything they threw at them. Captain watched the retreating ships. He could have destroyed them all, but he let them run. He wanted them to go back and tell their leaders what had happened. He wanted them to understand the fear their victims had felt. All ships cease fire, ordered. Let them go. Let them tell everyone what happened here today. The Ghost Fleet regrouped. They had won every battle so far, but the war wasn't over yet. The capital world, Prime, still stood. That would be the final target. And humanity was coming for it. 3 weeks had passed since the war began. The empire, which had controlled 40 star systems for centuries, was falling apart. Their military was shattered. Their economy had collapsed. Their proud leaders were desperate. And now, the human ghost fleet surrounded their capital world, Prime. High Chancellor stood in his command center, looking at the tactical display with horror. 300 human ships floated in orbit around his world. Every weapons platform was destroyed. Every defense station was gone. His people were trapped on their own planet, waiting for death. Had tried everything. He sent diplomats. The humans refused to talk. He offered resources. The humans didn't want them. He begged for mercy. The humans ignored him. Now all he could do was wait and see what the humans would do to his people. Captain stood on the bridge of the Retribution looking down at Prime. It was a beautiful world with blue oceans and green continents. Billions of lived down there. Civilians, families, children. They didn't choose to attack New Station. Their leaders did, but knew that if he wanted revenge, he could destroy them all with a single order. But that wasn't the plan. Open a channel to Admiral Sung Ho, ordered. Moments later, the Admiral's face appeared on the screen. Sung Ho was on Earth, coordinating the entire operation. He looked tired but determined. Captain status report, Sung Ho said. Prime is surrounded, sir. All military assets neutralized. They can't fight back anymore, awaiting your orders. Sung Ho nodded slowly. Good work, Captain. Now comes the hard part. We need to show the galaxy that humans aren't monsters like we don't kill innocents. Prepare for Phase 4. Understood, sir. Turned to his weapons officer. Bora, is the EMP pulse cannon ready? Engineer Bora checked her screens. The massive cannon was fully charged. Ready to fire on your command, Captain. Once I fire, every electronic device on Prime will stop working. Power plants, computers, communications, life support in their underground cities, everything will shut down. How long will the effect last? 3 weeks minimum, maybe a month. They will be living in the dark age until they can rebuild. Took a deep breath. This was the moment. He opened a channel to the entire world. Every screen, every communication device that still worked on the planet showed his face. People of Prime, this is Captain of the United Earth Forces. Your leaders attacked our people. They killed our civilians without mercy. They murdered our children." He paused. "Now you will experience what your victims felt, the helplessness, the fear. But unlike your leaders, we will not kill you. We want you to understand the difference between you and us." He gave the order, "Bora, fire the EMP cannon." The massive weapon discharged. An invisible pulse of energy hit Prime. In 15 minutes, every piece of technology on the planet stopped working. Lights went out. Computers died. Communication systems failed. The great cities of the went dark. In the underground cities where most lived, the life support systems began shutting down. Air circulation stopped. Temperature controls failed. In his command center, watched in horror as his screens went black one by one. His people were dying and he couldn't do anything to stop it. But then something unexpected happened. Medical Officer Wu led a fleet of human transport ships to the planet's surface. She had volunteered to lead the humanitarian mission. Wu was the same age as many of the people who died on New Station. She had every reason to hate but she was a doctor, and doctors help people. The transport ships landed in the major cities. Human soldiers came out carrying supplies, food, water, medicine, and manual life support systems that didn't need electricity. The civilians watched in confusion and fear as humans walked through their cities, helping them. Wu set up a field hospital near the largest underground city. Who were sick or injured came to her. Many were scared. Some were angry, but Wu treated them all with kindness. When a mother brought her sick child, Wu stayed up all night to save the little one's life. One civilian, his scales pale with fear, asked Wu, "Why are you helping us? We killed your people." Wu looked at him with tired eyes. "Your leaders killed our people, not you. We're not like them. We don't murder innocents." She handed him a container of clean water. "That's why we'll win and you lost. We're better than you." Word spread quickly through the population. The humans weren't there to kill them. They were actually helping. Many felt ashamed. Their leaders had murdered human children, and now humans were saving children. In his darkened command center, Chancellor was found by human soldiers. They arrested him without violence. Captain wanted to meet him face to face, was brought to the retribution in chains. When saw Captain, he tried to show defiance. "You think you've won, human, you think." "Silence," said coldly. "I don't care what you think. You ordered the deaths of innocent people. You murdered children to make a political point. You're not a leader, you're a monster." His confidence crumbled. "What will you do to me? Kill me? Torture me?" "No, we'll put you on trial. You'll face justice for your crimes. And then you'll spend the rest of your life in prison, thinking about all the lives you destroyed." "And my people, what about my planet?" His face was hard. "Your empire is over. Prime and all systems will be placed under human supervision. Your military will be completely dismantled. You'll never threaten another species again." One officer, his scales from battle, managed to get close to, "I need to understand. Why didn't you just destroy us? You had the power, we killed your people. Why show mercy?" Was silent for a moment. Then he pulled out a small photograph. It showed a young woman in a medical uniform smiling at the camera. This was Haewon, Admiral Sung-ho's daughter. She died on New Station. She was a doctor who spent her life helping people. The officer stared at the photo. "If we became like you," continued, "if we murdered your civilians the way you murdered ours, then Haewon would have died for nothing. She believed in helping people, even enemies. So we'll help your civilians. But your military, your leaders, everyone who chose to murder innocents, you're finished." Walked away, leaving the officer standing there with the photograph, understanding finally dawning in his mind. Meanwhile, the military tried one last desperate move. Their remaining fleet, about 500 ships, gathered for a final attack. They knew they would lose, but pride demanded they try. They jumped to Prime, ready to fight. Captain detected them immediately. "Enemy fleet incoming, 500 ships." Bora looked at her weapons console. Should I fire the Cascade missiles, sir? No need, said. He turned to. Are their systems still connected to our network? Intelligence officer smiled. Yes, sir. I still have complete access to their computer systems. Then let's end this without firing a shot. Activate protocol shutdown. Pressed a series of buttons. Throughout the fleet, computer systems went haywire. Weapons malfunctioned. Engines shut down. Some ships' own missiles detonated in their launch tubes. In 40 minutes, the entire offensive fleet was destroyed, not by human weapons but by their own malfunctioning technology. It was the most humiliating defeat possible. They couldn't even fire a single shot at the humans. Their own technology betrayed them. The war was over. Diplomat Jin arrived at Prime to deliver the terms of surrender. She met with the remaining leaders in a damaged building that humans had restored power to. She placed a document on the table. These are the terms, Jin said. The Empire is dissolved. All military forces will be completely dismantled. You will pay reparations for 3 generations. 50 systems will be under human monitoring to ensure you never threaten another species. Your weapons technology will be destroyed. Any violation of these terms will result in immediate military action. One leader, an old female with graying scales, asked quietly, "And if we refuse?" Admiral Sung-ho, who was also present via video link, answered, "Then we leave this planet dark for another month, then another month, then another. We can keep your entire civilization in the Dark Age until you agree, or you can accept these terms now and begin rebuilding." The leaders looked at each other. They had no choice. They signed the document. After the meeting was brought before Admiral Sung-ho one final time, the once-proud chancellor was broken, his scales dull, his eyes empty. "Why?" he asked. "Why didn't you just wipe us out? We would have done that to you." Sung-ho looked at him with cold eyes. "That's exactly why you lost. You think power means destroying your enemies, but real power means being able to destroy your enemies and choosing not to." He stood up. "You'll live the rest of your life knowing that humans are better than you. That's a worse punishment than death." As was taken away to prison, Sung-ho looked at the photo of his daughter one more time. "We did it, Hae-won," he whispered. "We made it right, and we did it without becoming monsters like them." 6 months after the war ended, the galaxy was a different place. The Empire was gone, broken into smaller territories watched over by human peacekeepers. But more importantly, something new had emerged from the ashes of the old order. The Confederation of Free Worlds held its first meeting on a neutral station called Unity Point. 23 different species gathered there, all of them free from the empires that had once terrorized them. At the center of the council chamber, President Yang of Earth stood to address them all. "Friends and allies," Yang began, "for too long this galaxy was ruled by fear. Strong species bullied the weak. Empires destroyed anyone who stood in their way. But that age is over now. Today we form a new alliance, one based on cooperation, not conquest, on protection, not domination." A delegate from the species, small blue-furred creatures who had been enslaved by them for decades, stood up. "President Yang, we are grateful for our freedom, but many of us worry. The humans have incredible military power. What stops you from becoming the next empire?" It was a fair question. Every species in the room was thinking it. Humans had destroyed the empire in 3 weeks. What if humans decided they wanted to rule the galaxy? Yang smiled gently. "That's why we're forming this confederation. Humanity doesn't want to rule you. We want to protect you. Our ghost fleet will serve as peacekeepers, but every member species will have a vote in the council. We make decisions together, not alone." Another delegate, this one from the rock-like species, asked, "And what if some species disagree with humanity? What if we want to leave?" "Then you're free to leave," Yang answered. "We won't force anyone to stay. This is a voluntary alliance. But understand this, If any species attacks innocent civilians the way they did, they will face the consequences. Humanity will not tolerate the murder of innocents. Ever. The Council voted. 23 species joined the Confederation of Free Worlds that day. It would grow to 50 species within a year. Captain took on a new role as commander of the peacekeeping forces. His ghost fleet no longer hid in nebulas. They patrolled the major trade routes, visible to everyone. Their presence alone was enough to prevent conflict. No one wanted to face human weapons. One day, a pirate fleet tried to raid a civilian convoy. They thought they could get away with it. Then 3 human warships appeared, their quantum shields shimmering. The pirates surrendered immediately without firing a single shot. Word spread quickly. Crime didn't pay when humans were watching. Stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the pirate ships being escorted to a prison station. His tactical officer, a young man named, said, "Sir, it's strange. We barely have to fight anymore. Just showing up is enough." Nodded, "That's the best kind of peace, when your enemies fear you so much that they don't even try to fight." He looked at, "But never forget, this peace exists because we proved we could destroy anyone who threatens innocence. We earned this respect with blood." Meanwhile, Engineer Bora had opened the first intergalactic technology academy on Earth. She taught students from dozens of species, sharing human technology with them. But there was a condition. They had to prove they would use it for defense, not aggression. A young student named was in her class. He was one of the first allowed to study human technology. Many humans hated him because of what his species had done, but Bora saw something different in him. "Why do you want to learn from us?" Bora asked him one day after class. "Your people tried to destroy us." Looked down at his scaled hands. "Because I was there, on Prime. When you shut down our power when we were helpless, I thought you would kill us all. My little sister was sick. She needed the life support systems to breathe. When they failed, I thought she would die." He looked up at Bora with sad eyes. "But then you came. You humans came with medicine and supplies. You saved my sister's life. The people we tried to murder saved us instead." His voice cracked. "I want to make sure my species never makes that mistake again. I want to learn from you so I can teach my people to be better." Bora felt tears in her eyes. This was why they had shown mercy, not for the leaders but for people like his sister. "Welcome to the class. Let's make sure history doesn't repeat itself." Intelligence officer had established a galaxy-wide early warning network. She worked from a station in orbit around Earth, monitoring all communications across hundreds of systems. Any species that started preparing for war received a message within hours. A simple message that appeared on their screens: "Humanity is watching." It was enough. 3 different conflicts were prevented in the first 6 months just because species knew humans were paying attention. STEAM had become the galaxy's guardian angels, invisible but always present. Medical officer Wu had fulfilled her dream. She built hospitals on 12 former worlds. The first one was on Prime, in the same city where she had treated patients during the war. Many came to her hospitals and she treated them all. One elderly, a grandmother with faded scales, came to Wu's hospital. She was dying of old age, but she wanted to say something before she passed. Wu sat with her, holding her hand. "I need you to know," the old whispered, "I was proud when our leaders attacked your station. I thought it showed our strength. I celebrated when I heard about the deaths." Tears ran down her scaled face. "Then you came. You saved my grandson when the power failed. You gave us food when we were starving. You showed us what real strength is." She gripped Wu's hand. "I'm so sorry. I'm so ashamed of what we did. Thank you for being better than us." Wu held the old woman as she cried. This was the real victory, not the destroyed ships or the collapsed empire. The real victory was changing hearts and minds. Admiral Sung Ho had officially retired from military service. He returned to New Station, which had been rebuilt as a memorial and a symbol of humanity's resilience. The station was bigger now, with 15,000 names carved into a memorial wall. Every person who died in the attack was remembered. Sung-ho stood before his daughter's name every morning. Other families came too, touching the names of their loved ones. The station had become a place of healing, but also a reminder of why humanity fought. One day, a young male approached Sung-ho at the memorial. He was nervous, his scales pale with fear. "Admiral Sung-ho, I need to speak with you." Sung-ho recognized him. It was Bora's student. "What is it?" Pulled out a small box. Inside was a carved stone, a traditional symbol of apology and remembrance. "This is for your daughter. I know it doesn't bring her back. I know it doesn't make anything right. But I wanted you to know that some of us will never forget what our leaders did. Some of us will spend our lives making sure it never happens again." Sung-ho took the stone, feeling its weight in his hand. He looked at this young who was trying so hard to make amends for crimes he didn't commit. "Thank you. Haewon would have liked you. She always believed in second chances." He placed the stone at the base of the memorial next to his daughter's name. "Use that belief well. Teach your people. Make sure the next generation remembers this lesson." Nodded and left. Sung-ho stood there looking at the memorial. The war had cost so much. But maybe, just maybe, something good had come from it. The galaxy was learning that innocence should never be targeted, that civilians should be protected, that strength without mercy was just brutality. Back at Unity Station, President Yang received an urgent message. Captain's face appeared on the screen. "Mr. President, we have a situation. The Empire in the southern sectors has attacked a civilian colony belonging to the species. 800 dead. They're claiming it was an accident, but intelligence suggests it was deliberate." Yang's face hardened. "How long until the Ghost Fleet can reach them?" 12 hours, sir." "Send them. And send a message to the leaders. Tell them they have 12 hours to surrender the commanders responsible and agree to pay full reparations, or they'll face the same fate as the." 11 hours and 45 minutes later, the Empire agreed to all terms. They handed over the commanders who ordered the attack and paid reparations. They also requested permission to join the Confederation of Free Worlds as a way to show they had learned their lesson. Captain never even had to fire a shot. The reputation of the Ghost Fleet was enough. In the war room on Earth, Diplomat Jin looked at the tactical display showing human ships spread across the galaxy. "We've become the Guardians," she said to President Yang. "Is this what we wanted?" Yang thought about it. "We wanted to be left alone. We wanted peace, but peace isn't free. Someone has to protect it." He looked at the display. "Better us than at least we care about protecting innocence." Jin nodded. "The galaxy is safer now. 23 species are free. Hundreds of billions of people don't have to fear their governments anymore. The thought bombing us would show their strength. Instead, they gave us a reason to change the entire galaxy." That night, Captain received another distress call, this time from a small mining colony in a distant sector. Pirates were attacking. Looked at his crew, Bora at weapons, at communications, at tactical, all of them ready. "All ships," said into the fleet communication, "prepare for immediate jump. We have civilians who need our help. Let's remind the galaxy why the Ghost Fleet exists." The ships jumped into hyperspace. 300 warships moving to protect people they'd never met, because that's what humans did now. They protected the weak. They stopped the bullies. They made sure that no one else would suffer the way New Station had suffered. On Prime, in a small apartment in the rebuilt city, watched the news report about the Ghost Fleet responding to the distress call. His little sister, now healthy and strong, sat next to him. "Brother," she asked, "are humans heroes?" Thought about everything he had learned, about Bora teaching him, about Wu saving his sister, about humans choosing mercy when they could have chosen revenge. He smiled at his sister. "Yes, they're heroes, and someday maybe we can be heroes too." Across the galaxy, Billions of beings lived their lives in peace because humans watched over them. The empire was gone, remembered only as a warning of what happens when you target innocence. The age of aggressive empires was ending. A new age was beginning. An age where humanity didn't rule through fear, but through the promise of protection. An age where the strong protected the weak instead of exploiting them. An age where attacking civilians didn't show strength, it showed weakness. Admiral Sung-ho stood at his daughter's memorial one last time before leaving. He touched her name gently. "We did it, Haewon. We made the galaxy better, not through conquest but through justice. They learned their lesson. Everyone learned their lesson." He looked up at the stars, at the ships passing by the station, at the peaceful colonies spreading across human space. "You died protecting people. Now, because of what happened to you, billions of people are protected. Your death wasn't meaningless. It changed everything." The Ghost Fleet continued its patrol. The academies continued teaching. The hospitals continued healing. And across the galaxy, one message was clear to every species, every government, every would-be aggressor. Humanity is watching, and humanity doesn't forget. And if you bomb them, if you attack their civilians, if you murder their children, you'll learn the same lesson they learned. Humans are not prey, they're protectors, and they're the last species you want as an enemy. The galaxy had learned that lesson, and it would never forget.